Hello, this is Juliet from Healing Waters Sanctuary in Glastonbury, and this is Squeakums, my cat, and she's very old, and she's 14 years old now, and she is the third in the third generation of cats, and her mother had a very traumatic birth with a litter before Squeakums was born. Now, the interesting thing about animals is that they can have very difficult experiences, but usually they don't get traumatized. Animals are able to release the trauma from their nervous system by shaking and releasing it out of their system. But human beings, unfortunately, because of our frontal cortex, tend to shut down the animal part of the brain that is trying to release the trauma, and we end up getting traumatized. The thing is that human beings, almost every one of us, has trauma in our nervous systems, and the terrible thing is that most of us don't know that this is going on. We may be subject to all sorts of intense experiences that are overwhelming us. We may be prone to anger attacks or reactivity, that we take offense at the smallest word, which affects our relationships with people. It can undermine our marriages. Anxiety can stop us doing what we want to do in life, that we don't go out and about, we don't take risks, we're frightened to take opportunities that present themselves to us. Or we may be suffering from depression, which is a result of the shutdown of our nervous system. We may be depressed, we may feel overwhelmed, we may not want to get out of bed in the morning, or we may be suicidal even. And a trauma in our nervous system, this sort of dysregulation of the nervous system, can then even lead to degenerative illnesses that often confuse the doctors, and we may have a lifetime of illness which is unnecessary. Because actually trauma is relatively simple to heal once it is identified as being a dysregulation of the nervous system. The human body knows what to do, it's just the mind that's stopping it actually doing the thing that it needs to do. So we need to let the animal part of the brain do its work and release the traumatic incidents from the body, release the energy of the trauma from the body. Unfortunately, over a period of time, we may get layer upon layer of trauma happening, so the release of it becomes more complex, but it can be done, and it is done actually. And the part of the brain that can actually talk to the animal part of the brain and give it the go-ahead to release the trauma is the part of the brain that can is the part of the brain that feels sensations. So working through the body in feeling sensations and tracking sensations is a way to actually get into the animal part of the brain and release the trauma that's held in the body. Now, the other thing that happens with trauma is that we get very intense experiences coupled together. We get very intense emotions coupled with physical pain and a lot of tension and anxiety and so on. So again, when we work through the part of the brain that's sensing sensations, then we can uncouple the emotions from the traumatic reactions. Now, this is the work that I do with people, and there are many tools that I bring to bear in actually unpicking a traumatic experience, especially if it's complex and especially if its origins are from prenatal times, because we actually begin to suffer trauma right from the time when we're in the womb. Could even be preconception. Well, because I know that so many people suffer from trauma, and as a way of helping you get some handle on the situation, on what's actually undermining your life, I've created a series of videos in which there are exercises for you to do that will begin to train you to have somatic awareness and to be able to train you in how to track the sensations in your body and the emotions in your body that are linked, that are coupled together in this intense way that's blocking the animal part of the brain from doing the work that it needs to do. So I really look forward to hearing from you, and I'm really happy to help you, and my commitment is bringing awareness to people on the planet of how trauma causes so much suffering, and how it underpins violence, war, poverty, and the other evils that beset us on the planet. It's possible for all of them to change, and it's possible for you to heal too.